brothers named William and something else Pace.
Something else.
I can't remember his name. But you would never guess in 100 years what William Pace was in England.
You got it, William Pace.
A pasty maker.
A what?
Pasty maker? Nope.
That's a kind of
I didn't know
food that
about
your
pasties.
family used to always eat.
No, he was the court jester.
Do you know what that is, Bailey?
Esther?
That means he was the clown for the king.
He was the comedian.
Yes, he was the comedian that entertained.
I think now I know where I got my sense of humor.
Exactly. So, anyway, he was so good at it that the people just clamored for him every time there was any kind of gathering.
William Pace.
And so he would come out and entertain, and everyone just laughed and everything. But then the king was so impressed with him as a person that he asked him to be his personal confidant.
What's a
What's a
confidant?
confidant?
Someone you tell secrets to, and someone you can trust. Someone who's your friend at all times. He was to the King of England. That's what he was asked to do.
A confidant. I'm your confidant, and you're
sounds
my
like
confidant.
crouton.
What'd she say?
Sounds like crouton.
She loves
See
croutons.
why that's
So.
funny.
Well, it just the
It's my
the
foot.
way it relates is funny. So it's okay. You are a court jester sometimes as well. You know,
And I know where I got my sense of humor.
right?
What's it?
So anyway, that was kind of as far back as we could get for the Paces. And then we get to Richard Pace, who was the first Englander who came to America and settled in Jamestown.
That's a lot of paces.
Yeah, a big long line of them. And he didn't want to live in town with everybody else. He wanted to live out on his own and have his own property. So he paddled up the James River and he established a great big farm out there. And everybody said, "Are you crazy?
Are you
That's where the Indians are, you know. They're going to just wipe you out the first chance they get."
Don't worry.
So what happened? Here comes an Indian.
What?
And James Pace, no, this was Richard, made friends with him. He was kind of a young man, just a guy not married, was just wandering through the wilderness. And he became such good friends with him that Chonko warned him when there was an Indian attack coming.
Like Pocahontas?
Well, yeah, but it was guys, not girls. You know, Pocahontas was a girl. And so all of these Indians had gathered together and they were going to make a big attack on Jamestown and wipe it out because they didn't want them in America, okay? So Chonko, because he liked James Pace so much, he was like a father to him, he came and said, "Listen, the Indians are out there massing and they're gonna come and just wipe out Jamestown." So James and a couple of his ranch hands got in a canoe and paddled as fast as they could down to Jamestown and warned the people, "The Indians are coming."
The
And so,
Indians are coming to
by the time they
destroy us.
attacked, Jamestown was very well defended, and they did not succeed in wiping them out. So he actually saved Jamestown. That
I
was
saved
Richard Pace.
Jamestown. I want to be known.
And guess what else? You know, we talk about Richard Pace and how wonderful he was and what he did, but nobody ever talks about the hero, Chonko. So my brother John and my sister Drew got together and they researched this whole thing. They found Chonko and they took him to the temple and they had all his work done.
Who's Chonko?
Chonko was the Indian that saved them
Oh.
from the Indian attack, you know. So we have him kind of in our family.
So after Richard Pace got the glory, was Chongo kind of jealous of that, or did he not mind?
No, he didn't. I mean, he just did what he did. But he stayed to be a really good friend of Richard Pace. So we thought he was as important as anybody. So we did his temple work, okay?
That friendship is kind of like that. Me and Liam's friendship is kind of similar to Richard Pace's and Chongo's. And you have to admit, it's like everything that's going on in my life now has happened before in the past.
Really? So that's another thing that reminds me is when the Mormon battalion was going west,
Here's my
there was a
plate.
huge Indian threat the whole time. But the Mormons knew who the Indians were. What does that mean? They are descendants of the Book of Mormon Lamanites. And at one point in time, they had the gospel in the fullness. And so because the Mormon battalion recognized these Indians and knew that it was prophesied that someday they would come back to the gospel of Jesus Christ, they befriended them. And they spent a lot of time, you know, calming them down and making friends with them so they wouldn't attack. So that was another good thing that the
Okay.
Mormon battalion accomplished. Now let me see, then I already told you about